All right. Hello, everyone. So I have some Rocket League going in the background. I just realized something. Oh, no, it's working. Okay. Um, so we're here to talk about the Esports Club. Welcome to the Esports Club Podcast. So today's episode, if you read the title, is going to be Mid-Season Roster Mania. And I have the Carmine Corp Team Falcons quarterfinal match from the major in the background. And I think the first thing I want to talk about is the retirement of Squishy Muffins. Obviously a great player, and it's sad to see him go, but I'm happy Rule 1 picked him up as a content creator, and I think it's going to be fun to see what he does in content creation. Again, sad to see him go, though. So, yeah, I think now that that is out of the way, let's talk about the mid-season roster mania. So we're going to start with Mina. MENA, which is Middle East and North Africa. So I think what we need to talk about, there's really only one roster move, which is Rule 1. They've decided to let go of Ahmad, which I don't know how I feel about this one, but they picked up Venom. I think Venom's a great player. He's young. It's his second year. I think Venom's got a lot of potential. But I think having Nupo in WPO and Venom on your team is very interesting because obviously these are two younger players, and I'm an analyst, not an official one, but I like to analyze a lot. I have like whole notebooks of analyzations made. Um, and just from by the looks of it, like they're two very aggressive players, and they're very young, like very young. And that's always a risk. As you see with Team Falcons, Ruas and Kaliers are two young players, but I think they're less of a risk as they're twins and they have like really good synergy and chemistry as being twins. And so I think it's interesting, and I think it's results based. This move is. I think if they see better results, if they can manage to take a major or take a win off of Falcons, then maybe it was worth it. But I don't know if it was yet. Anyways, I believe Ahmad is just a trade. Ahmad did go to Twisted Minds. But other than that, that's all we have. Now, obviously, the only other move, no move in SSA, major moves at least. The only major move that we have in APAC is Elevate switching out. So now Elevate is going to be LCT, Sphinx, and ZPS. If you don't know ZPS, his name is Zombie Poop Shark. Really interesting. I don't know what the story behind that is, but it's awesome. Anyways, picking up ZPS, I think this is really good. ZPS obviously has a lot of experience, so does LCT, and you have the young player in Sphinx, so I think this team has everything they need. And I could see from their perspective of why they would want to switch this up, as if you guys don't know, if you don't follow all of the regions, which is okay, I understand that, it's a lot. But if you don't follow all the regions, then you would not understand that Gaming Gladiators and Elevate went head-to-head. Excuse me. Gaming Gladiators Elevate went head-to-head with each other to see who gets the spot, and it came down to the last major, or last regional, and Elevate barely took it, but it was close, and I think Elevate are just trying to eliminate the closeness of that. I think Gaming Gladiators have a really good coach in OSM going for them. I think Gaming Gladiators just have a lot going for them. So I think this was a really good move. Like I said, you have experience in LCT and Zombie Poop Shark, or ZPS, and then you have that new mechanical player in Sphinx, and I think Sphinx has a lot of potential. He's very good. He is one of APAC's best players that we've seen. Oh, almost an own goal. Interesting. Anyways, I think Sphinx has a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see where Sphinx goes. Now we're going to go to the bigger ones. So if you don't know, let's talk about EU. EU is clearly being ruled by BDS, K-Corp, Gentlemates, who won the major, and Team Vitality. And we'll get to the winning the major and how the major performance went for teams after. But I think teams realize, like, there's almost every team here needs to have an outbreak play. Not play, an outbreak of a split. If they don't, it's going to be bad. So I think the first one is Magnifico. I think Magnifico is a very underrated roster. Before we had Stizzy, Tox, and Atomic. So Stizzy is going over to NA, and we'll talk about more on that later. But now it's going to be Atomic, Tox, and Acronic. I think Acronic is really good. We saw him with Team Liquid last year, second year. Now it's his third year. Him, Oski, and Atto, they played really well together. And obviously, Oski found Oxygen, and Atto found K-Corp. So they both found success. Atto found more, obviously. But Acronic got put on a roster he wasn't doing too great on. In fact, he only made 2 of the 3 things in the split. 2 of the 3 regionals in the split. So I think this was definitely a move that needed to be made. And I think it was a good move for Acronic. I don't know how great it is in total for this roster. I'm excited to see where this goes, though. I think Acronic is a very good player. And I'm really excited to see these guys work out. So next move we have is Tho leaving Sa. It's not going to be Mike Boy, Tekos, and I don't know who the other one is. But Tho leaving is really interesting because Mike Boy and Tho have been duoed for a very long time together. So I'm really curious to see where this goes. So next big things, now we're getting to big things, is Moist headed over to NA. We'll talk more on that later. But that leaves all their EU players left there. And Joyo found himself on Oxygen. Ixo and Joyo have been replaced. Ixo has been replaced by Joyo. And now it's going to be Archie, Oski, and Joyo. So I think it's going to be a very good roster. I'm very curious, and bear with me. I'm sorry if I'm stuttering or stopping at points. This is very hard to do by myself. But I'm trying, y'all. I'm really trying. Now, I think the next we're going to skip over here to the game. If we can get the game. Looks like we have some technical difficulties. No, but so I think those are the biggest EU moves. Again, EU, if I talked about every single small EU move, I think I'd be talking for hours. But NA is my region, my beloved, loved region here. Let's rewind it back a little bit for y'all. NA. Let's talk about the top teams obviously not making any changes. Let's talk about Dignitas. So Dignitas, I feel like, already had a pretty good roster, but they're deciding to get rid of Gyro, and Stizzy is now on their team. Now, some people are not liking this decision of getting rid of Gyro, as I do understand that Gyro had a way better split than all of the other ones. I think statistics based, and if you look based on past performances, Evo and Arsenal are just the better players to stick with for the long run. And Stizzy is, I think, a really good playstyle for this. Obviously, Evo can be really mechanical, and Arsenal's more of that IGL in-game leader. And Stizzy is obviously really mechanical, or at least, from what we've seen of him so far, he has a lot of mechanical ability. So I think this is going to be very great for Stizzy and very great for Dignitas as a roster. I think this is a great move for Dignitas. And yeah, so the next thing we have is Incorrect. So they have Flitz. They're rebuilding around Flitz. And now they brought in Toasty and Expert. Expert, I forget exactly. I think Expert was on Deleted XD. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I know Toasty was NRG's sub. He played with them for one regional. Didn't go too well, so he became their sub. And now he's finding himself on Incorrect, and they've done pretty well so far. We'll get into that in another episode. I have an idea. might be recorded right after this. Anyways, I think this is a really good roster change, and from what I've seen so far, they look really good. So I'm excited to see where this goes, how this goes, and if incorrect, can rise to the occasion. So Moist are picking up Pirates on a Boat. So Pirates on a Boat are still going to keep their points. They're just now going to be under the name of Moist. So this is Andy, RS, and 5-Up with Achieves as their coach. Achieves has been a really good coach so far. I think this roster has a lot of potential when they're peaking, but just on a base level, I don't think they have what it takes to make it to a major. But maybe being under an actual team, being picked up, represented by an org, maybe that's the buff they needed. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. Continuing on, roster changes. There hasn't been too much. Besides NRG, Drees is left NRG. I don't know if he left or got kicked. I heard a rumor that he left, but he might have gotten kicked. Knowing NRG, they're not being very consistent and like keeping their players, and they're dropping people a lot. So now they're gonna have Garrett G though. They're gonna have Garrett G, Mist, and Aqua. Aqua was on that Muffin Men, but Squishy retired, and Gimmick hasn't found a team or notable team yet. So Gimmick is technically a free agent. Next up is 0 to 1 is back, being Angel, Tool, and Cosmic. So Angel and Tool coming from Incorrect, and Cosmic coming from... I don't know where Cosmic's coming from, but I know this is great for Cosmic's career. Obviously, 0 to 1 was an old team of the same players, and now they're bringing it back, which is really interesting. And I did want to go back to EU with Greasy Meister, Remco or Remoke or something. I think it's Remco and Scrubkilla bringing back Weedham Girls. That's going to be really exciting to see. I just want to say something about that. Going back to NA, Cloud9 is back. I believe that they picked up Omelette, which is Lion, Blaze, Zanil, and Percy, but I don't know 100%. And that's all we're going to be talking about today. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe if you liked this episode, and I will see you next time.